All right, there we go. And with any adult learning, we always want to talk about why we're doing office hours. We started doing these quite some time ago in an effort to share information across the region. We know there are great things going on. We know there are great resources. And we also know that it's a different time for everyone and what their jobs look like. And so we want to make sure that we're getting together and sharing resources to the extent that we can. We always, when we're thinking about assistive technology, want to think through the SET framework. So we think about the student in a holistic manner, the environments in which they're doing things, which of course have changed recently, the tasks that we want them to do, and then we overlay the tools on top of that. Of course, we look through an equity lens and make sure that every individual student is getting exactly what they need. Here's the general agenda of what we'll be going over today. We'll get some sharing by our guest. We'll make sure that we have time for questions and answers, but feel free during Sarah's presentation. She said she'd like to take questions as they come up as we're moving through things. So feel free to unmute yourself to ask questions or type them in the chat window. I'll monitor the chat window. I'll share a few extra resources and do a wrap up at the end. Before we get started hearing from Sarah, so I want to just do a quick question to people. Which districts or co-ops have access to the Simon Technology Center library now and have a subscription? I know that Duluth Public Schools does. Okay, Amanda.
We do. The Northland Learning Center does.
Great. So NLC does. And we were talking with Shannon earlier and Tina, and we know that Northern Lights Special Ed Co-op has a membership until the end of December. Great. Okay, and if you aren't sure if your district co-op has a subscription, you can reach out to your coordinator or teacher on special assignment or director to make sure if you do and if you don't, to find out if that's a possibility. Sarah will talk to us about some membership options in just a minute. All right. So without going on any further, I'll hand it over to Sarah Giffen-Hunter, who is here from the Simon Technology Center Lending Library.
Great. Okay, welcome. I am sitting here in the library today, even though our building is technically closed, but I come in once a week. So my name is Sarah Giffen-Hunter. I was just telling Julie, I've been here exactly 4 years. I am an assistive technology specialist at Pacer, and I am also one of the co-coordinators. There are 2 of us that manage the library. And so, yeah, let's go on to the next slide. So these are the basic library memberships. We usually have a family or individual membership or an organization or professional. And so they're a little different. I like professionals to know about the family or individual one as well, just so you can tell the people that you work with. Before I go into the details about the cost, I do want to say that Pacer has a pretty great philosophy about wanting to make technology accessible to everyone. And if you do work with someone say something? Okay. If you do work with a family that you know that the $50 would be a hardship, then they can or you can just write a letter and send it to us, which would be by email, is just fine. Just describing the financial hardship and requesting a scholarship, and we would do that. So I feel like that's an important piece to add in there. So for families or an individual, it's $50 for a year, and that allows them to borrow up to 4 items at a time, or we do loan mobile apps for Apple only. And so those are an additional 4 at a time. The organization or professional memberships is really intended for like a much larger group. So like, entire school district or something. Sometimes individual schools or maybe OT practice will join with that kind of a membership. That is $200 a year. That then means that I think we have some school districts that send us like maybe up to 20 names of people that have access, that are allowed to check things out, even though it's all kind of done through one main contact person. There can be, speech language pathologists, there can be OTs, teachers, all kinds of people that can actually look at the catalog and request things to borrow. So a much larger group has access. And then they can borrow up to 8 items at a time. And that's kind of the job of that main contact person to kind of coordinate, who's checking out what, and up to eight iOS apps at a time. And yes, please do jump in with any questions. I'll just keep plowing through. But the borrowing, unfortunately, right now our browsing is not available in the building, but you guys are all kind of far away anyway, so that's all right. We are doing curbside pickup and drop off during the pandemic, but more applicable to you would probably be the mailing. Like I said, I'm coming into the building once a week. And if I need to, I'm going to come in 2 times a week to be able to get reservations processed and mailed out, shipped out. I know Julie has a lot of experience doing that, so you can also, touch base with her to ask questions about how that works. We do pay to mail things out, and then the borrower does need to pay to mail it back. And I know that's kind of a concern for some people, and you might want to keep that in mind when you think about borrowing larger or heavier items. But that's the way it stands right now. So, Leah, let's go on to the next slide. Yes, so our online catalog is pretty nice. It's through My Turn, and here's just a screenshot of what it looks like. And anyone's able to browse items. You do not have to have a membership to just browse and look at all of our inventory. You can search by different categories. If you get down in there, and you can see how much an item costs. You can, most of the time, you can see who the manufacturer is or maybe where we got it from. So we try to, and we have, when you drill down in more closely than this, you can see there's a whole description of the item, as well as like the kinds of accessories that are needed and things like that. We try to put as much detail in there as we can. And then once you have an account, you can make a reservation directly through the catalog. So you can select things, you can put through a reservation that comes through to us, and we process that. And as far as mailing things, so we have in there now, you can just put in there a request you want it to be mailed, and then you confirm the address, and then on the next day that I'm in, I get that ready and I mail that out to you. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So I just wanted to highlight a couple things about the I didn't want to take the time to go into the website and show you through the catalog, because that's something you can do on your own time. But just a couple of things. I hope you can see that it's not too small, but all the different categories there. You can search by selecting specific categories. And there you can see in the green and then the red, it says whether it is available, or if something is checked out by someone else, it will say that either the date that it's due or that it's overdue or something like that. And then over the shot on the right shows the status. So we do have over 2,000 items, but some of those are for in-house only. So that's why you might want to be able to select lending collection, and then and you can also, at the top, it also says what's available to check out now if you want to go that way. The only reason we have some demo only items are because we do a lot of workshops and presentations, and a lot of times when we have 2 of an item, we keep 1 in-house so that we know we can have it to show individuals and professionals when we do presentations. So that's a quick overview of the library catalog. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. We want to get to the little video tour here. So this is a kind of a rundown of the categories. It's not all the categories that we have, but it's most of them. A rundown of the categories that I'm going to talk about today and kind of show you when I walk around the library. I would guess these are all pretty familiar to you. And I'm going to go ahead and normally, I would wish that people could be here for an in-person tour. It's so great. And I'm going to try to do the best that I can by wheeling my iPad camera around the room. But just bear with me. It's a little hard to gauge how close to get and such. But please, that's great. Yeah. Please let me know if the view is not working well for you. And I will try to adjust.
That sounds great, Sarah. I'll put this up on the screen just for a second. If you
Okay.
want to make sure that Sarah's picture shows up as largely as possible for you, it might happen automatically for you, but if you're not seeing that happen when she talks, you can go to the 3 dots in the lower right-hand corner, click on change layout, and then try spotlight or sidebar. But as soon as I stop presenting, it should automatically do that for you. But again, if it doesn't, that's a way that you can hopefully see Sarah's camera a little more largely. So I'll stop presenting now.
Okay. Yeah, I just see you, Julie. But I won't worry about it, I guess.
Sarah, you could try that. Do you have those 3 dots in the lower right-hand corner for you?
Well, I'm on an iPad. Well, let's see. I can pin myself. Oh, no.
I can try.
I don't, but the iPad has. Oh, wait. Weird.
Now
Sidebar layout. I know it's just different on an iPad than on a. Nope, that's not right. Oh, wait. What's this? Nope. Ah! Are you able, Julie? Are you able to
on
make
my end, I am seeing
my
you.
video big? Maybe other people can confirm whether it's okay or not, and I'll just proceed.
Yep. Can I get some correspondence in the chat window as to whether people, when Sarah's talking, can you see her big? Okay. They're saying it looks good on their end. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in then. So starting with Switch toys, and here we have quite a few Switch toys. Lots of stuffed animals, but some other things too, things that light up and such. So that's nice. And a lot of different kinds of switches to kind of promote that kind of interaction. And then also a big early childhood section. We have adapted books and toys. Let me get my view here better. A lot of different kinds of things for early childhood interaction. So things with lights, things that are very tactile. We also have music. So a lot of different things that have sound. You might be familiar with this little Mozart cube, things like that. So not everything is switch access. There's a lot of things that are cause and effect, and just to get some, young children to interact with things. We also do have seating, a lot of seating alternatives. So this is an alternative seating. This is a really tiny little kind of toddler size chair that can also be used as a little table. So those are called Vidgets. We have those in this size all the way up to an adult size one. More early childhood. And then moving over here, communication devices are a really important part of our collection. People probably are aware that communication devices tend to be very expensive. So, something like the Tobii iMobile or the Accent, very expensive and very important for individuals to be able to try and have a good trial with before they pursue purchasing something. So there's our 3D printer. And then more communication. And I just need to remember to back up a little bit so you can see a little bit more. Also some really, more low-tech communication device type things. So we have pod books that we loan. The GoTalk line, all different sizes of GoTalk. And even down to like the step-by-step communicators. They're just the one button that you record a message on. So a lot of communication devices. And then getting back over here, we have what I'm going to call an executive function category. So a lot of teachers are pretty familiar with some of these things. The time timer is a big one a lot of teachers are familiar with. And things like earmuffs, noise canceling headphones, that kind of thing. And then this one is a time tracker. There's a time tracker that's larger, and then this is a mini. And this guy's really nice because it has a red, yellow, green. So it has a little bit more information than just the time timer. And you set the green number of minutes and the yellow number of minutes. And then you push start. Hopefully you can see that's lit up green now. So then that just goes, and I think that's really helpful for kids that really need that kind of warning for that transition time. So I have this set now to like 5 minutes of yellow. So this would change to yellow and it'd be for 5 minutes. And they can see that. And then when that time is up, then it turns to red and the red flashes. And I think you can have an audible alarm as well, or you can turn that off. So you can go with just the light, or you can add the auditory. So that's the time tracker mini. And then a category that we call sensory aids. And there's a bunch of different kinds of fidgets. This little guy is Howie the Hedgehog. He's really cute. He's got like a nice sensory thing on back. And he's also weighted, so he's nice to hold and snuggle and help with that calm. This is a giant weighted knot pillow. Down low, you can hopefully see there's some more seating options. So these are a nice kind of thing to try out. And a lot of families really talk about how much they appreciate being able to try things. And, even now, like with distance learning going on, they're trying different seating options or cushions and just really trying to figure out what helps students when they're doing their schooling at home to help them focus. And so it's nice to hear from families that that's really helpful and that sometimes they avoid buying something because the kid tries it and they don't like it at all. And so that's great. And then we're moving into vision and hearing and daily living aids. So back here we have the Circle, which is a Disney product that controls the access to the internet. And we have a number of items from the Low Vision store. They kind of have partnered with us and they place items here. There's 2 different sizes of Optilec electronic magnifier. This one is a pretty powerful little fella. That is the Compact 6. And you can use this as an electronic magnifier, but you can also take a picture with it and it will do OCR and turn any text into speech. So that's a really nice little tool there. And then daily living aids over here, I would say is quite a wide variety of things from like automated pill box. This is the dose, and some eating tools. And then if people don't know about the liftware, they should, because it's pretty amazing. So this is an item that it's been charged, and this is the liftware level. There's also the liftware steady, but this one, when I twist my hand, the spoon stays level. I have that in the camera there, and then when I lift, it also stays level. And so this has actually been borrowed by a number of schools to help with students. And we've had schools tell us that it's, been effective in helping a student eat independently in the cafeteria when they couldn't before, just because of the stability that it gives. So that's pretty neat too. Any questions so far?
I'm not seeing any in the chat window, but if
Okay.
people have questions, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask.
Okay. And you're able to see the stuff I'm showing?
Yeah, it's coming through real good.
It's a little awkward, but pulling this little stand around with me. Okay, so computer access is another really large category. So we have a lot of different keyboards, whether they are visually different or like this one is a standard keyboard, but it has a key guard on it. So it separates out each key and helps with people that have a more spastic kind of fine motor to separate that key and make it a more intentional. And then a lot of different kinds of adaptive mice, whether it's a large one, a small one, some that require a lot less grip, some that are really small, and so a lot of different mice, kind of for a lot of different needs, as well as some portable keyboards. Yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. And then over here I have switches. Get my switches in view there. So we also have a lot of different kinds of switches. And then this is a switch adapted fan. So when I push the big red button, that turns the fan on. And then this one is the candy corn proximity switch. And I have it plugged into this automatic dice roller here. I like the dice roller a lot. It kind of gives an example of how, a student might be able to participate in an activity. And so all I have to do is roll, kind of hold my hand over it, and it activates it. This is a really nice switch. It has several different settings, but I have in there lights that light up right now, as well as an auditory feedback, and so that's nice. And then there's even like this really tactile switch. I can't remember exactly what that one's called. Probably a tactile switch. And then over here is some reading tools. And again, like reading tools can be really low tech. This is like a see and read that it gives a guide for reading down the page. And then we have other more advanced, more high tech reading tools, but it's a lot of different things there. We have mounts and supports, as well as mobile devices like iPads. We do loan out iPads. And then Osmo. If you're not familiar with Osmo, they're great games because they make the iPad very interactive. So we like that a lot for students. and different accessories, stylus, carrying cases, things like that. And then note-taking tools. So one of our most popular items that we loan out is the Livescribe Smart Pen. That's what that looks like. And this pen works with this special notebook, and it actually records the audio and syncs up with what it writes, what you're writing on the page. And so this is a really great tool for middle school, high school, and beyond for students, whether they have dysgraphia, ADD, all kinds of things. And this helps so that they can record what's being said in class, but not have to take very many notes. They can just take enough notes so they know where to go back to find the information that they want. So if you don't know about that, that's the Livescribe Echo Pen. And just a couple more sections here. Over here is writing tools. So we have a wide variety of pencil grips and different pencils. This is like a weighted pencil holder. And then a lot of different, this is a twist and write, a lot of different things. And I tell you, if you don't know, like kids, they definitely have different reactions. They'll pick one up and they love it, and they'll pick another one up and they hate it. So it is, I know they aren't very expensive, but it's just a really great thing to be able to trial with them. You can borrow a number of them and have kids try different ones. And then the last section I wanted to show is math. So these are like math and time-telling tools. And I think that's about it. It's almost 12:30, so that is a quick run through of our lending library. And then there's another room I didn't even show you that has all the inventory on shelves back there. So
yeah, that was super impressive. Your library clearly has a wide range of things and some really cool tools. Does anyone have any questions? You can feel free to type in the chat window or unmute yourself and ask too. Shannon had to take off, but she also said that it was a very impressive and organized AT library in the chat window before she had to run, which is
good.
Absolutely true. So I'll keep it open for questions. I've got a couple more slides. I'll just plow through just to do a quick wrap up, but know that we will hang around and keep those questions coming if you've got them. I'm going to share my screen here.
Gross motor tech toys.
Oh, any gross motor tech toys? Good question, Leanne. What do you think, Sarah?
The questions go by too fast. I can't.
Okay. Yeah. So we've got one from Leanne just asking if there are any gross motor tech toys available.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, what would that be? I mean, we have like a beeping frisbee, but as far as like recreational toys, we don't have a lot.
All right. Well, and I know, Leanne, too, if you have something specific in mind, you can search that switch access
library. Writing.
Switch access writing. So like we have in our library here in Duluth, we have one car that's like a switch adapted car, but it's just for tiny kids.
Sure. Well, we have a whole program that where we make switch adapted cars for families, but we don't typically have them to loan because they are so uniquely created for that kid. So they'll do different things like make the switch in a specific place, and they have to build in a lot of different supports for different kids to hold them up. So yeah.
How does the family access that then, or get an opportunity? They can contact right directly to you guys?
Yes. They can email me, or I think we have an email that's just stc@pacer. Yeah, and it's the Go Baby Go program. Yeah. And we just get grant funding for that. And, you know, if a family has a vehicle that they want to have adapted, that's great. They can bring that in. You know, we'd have to, we do, Elizabeth is the person that kind of coordinates that. We'd have to figure out, because they have to have the kid come in 1 or 2 times for the fitting kind of. So, you know, with you being further away, they'd have to kind of figure that out. But it's go, baby, go.
Thank you.
Great.
There was
And
another question that went by too fast. I didn't see what it was.
Yeah, it was from Vanessa. She said, when a school borrows an item, are they borrowing it for use at school only, or can they use it at home too? Sarah, you can answer that. I can answer it from the Duluth perspective, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, they can definitely take it home too. Yep. I think that the school has the account, and they basically need to assume that they are in charge of keeping track of the item. But yeah, you know, like we follow the SET program too. Like anything that a kid is trying to use, he's, you know, unless he's trying to use a smart pen, they might need to take it home and deal with it there. So yeah, just as long as the teacher or the professional kind of keeps track of where it is, that's fine. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes we've had people who are working with our birth to 2 population also. And so, you know, of course things are happening in the home. So yeah, it's up to that team to make sure that it's an appropriate usage at home. So
yeah, definitely. Yep.
Great. Okay, I think that's it for questions right now. I'll go through these last couple of slides just to, maybe. It's not wanting to share. Let me try one more time. While we're wrapping up though, again, you can keep asking questions if you've got more questions here.
I wonder if it's acting weird because you're recording. I feel like once you started recording, it kept your screen up or something.
It does do weird things like when we're recording. So, yeah. I'll get these last couple of slides on the recording, and then we'll make sure we stop doing that too. So here are the rest of the slides, hopefully coming up now. We did do some questions and answers. I just want to bring up that next week we're having Sherry Cook come and talk to us from the Lighthouse Center for Vision Loss, another AT lending library. There's registration in those slides that were shared out with you. And we've got some additional other lending library information coming up too, including our Region 3 AT lending library and the STAR program coming up. And just know that there are some additional resources out there for you too. Infinitec has lots of live webinars, so you can check those out. Free account in Region 3. And if you missed last week's office hours, they're always recorded and saved on the YouTube channel. I always encourage people to think of their just one thing of all the things that Sarah talked about today and all the things that she shared. What is the one thing that you'll walk away from here today and think, oh, I want to explore that more. Or, oh, I want to ask this person about that piece. Again, thinking through that SET framework. And just a big thanks for attending. And you will each get a copy of the recorded session emailed to you, a link to that. So just know that that will be coming your way. And a huge thank you for attending. You can always reach out to me with questions too. All right, I'm going to stop recording, but know that we will hang around for questions if